Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Almost the end of the year. 2024 is coming around. Couple of news from Doña Feliz Secuaces, but we're not here to discuss that.
Yeah, man. Like you said, 2023 has come and gone, and we're gonna kind of do our 2023 eltri Mexico awards here, man. Pretty much gonna be going through some categories, giving our opinion on who stood out in each category. And yeah, it was an exciting year for Mexico. Obviously had a rotation of coaches there and won some silverware. Ended up the year playing some decent friendlies against some decent opposition. So yeah, a lot to talk about, but let's kind of go ahead and start with the first award here, man, for PPG. First official award that PPG gives out for El Tri here, Most Improved Player of 2023. First of all, tell us a kind of who you think deserves it, and I guess after that, a couple runner-ups that you have for us.
Sure. So for the most improved player for 2023, I think is Johan Vasquez. Uh, and it's very clear to me that he is the one who has improved the most out of the entire pool of all players. Like if I take a look at Santi Jimenez, right? He had an outstanding beginning of 2023, and he kind of sort of stood up there, right? He's still killing it with Feyenoord. But if you look at Johan Vasquez, he went from a relegation uh, challenge with Cremonese. He got relegated with Cremonese, and then he went on to the summer to fight for a spot in Genoa, which he ultimately ended up getting the spot. And now he has been putting some decent performances out there, and he's actually a very regular player at the squad. So we can talk about other players that are maybe better than him overall, but he is the most improved player in the Triso squad. Like pound by pound, man. You
Yeah.
can see that he has learned how to defend better. He's better at anticipating plays. He's better at stealing balls. He is better at his pace. He's just an overall huge improvement from what we saw in Qatar and early of this year, and what we have seen recently from Johan Vasquez.
Yeah, Johan Vasquez, who now is undoubtedly a starter for Mexico in the back four, who is one of the first players to be on the list. And when you talk about Mexico's A team, he's definitely on the list there, man. I agree, man.
Yeah.
He had a great turnaround here. It's playing really great in the Serie A. And yeah, I mean, what else can be said about Johan Vasquez? Who
Yeah.
do you got as a runner up for him, man?
To me, a runner-up is Julian Araujo, and let me say this: he started strong the year with a move from LA Galaxy to Barcelona, and then kind of sort of we knew that he was not going to stay in Barcelona for that long. He was going to probably get loaned out. He was a regular for LA Galaxy. He wasn't doing as bad as the entire LXC Galaxy was doing, um, but I think this move to Ude Palmas was a great situation for him. You can definitely tell if you follow the La Liga, if you follow him as a player, not necessarily Ude Palmas. You can definitely tell that he's been improving significantly. If you look at what the local pundits are saying about him, you can tell that this is a player who's on the up. Maybe we'll see him at the bench of Barcelona next year, or maybe we can see him at a bigger team in La Liga or somewhere else in Europe. But I think Julian Araujo is now a better player than what he was a year ago at LA Galaxy.
Yeah, man, I agree. And Julian Araujo is kind of a weird case because he's, like I said, he's killing it in La Liga, but he still hasn't been able to kind of find a spot in El Tri, right, in la selección mexicana. He's still kind of a bench player. He plays in some of the friendlies, but he's not really the first name on the list. Whenever Jimmy is naming his A team, he's kind of a good solid bench player, but
Yeah.
definitely a young guy who develops, and he's developing really into a really consistent player. Like you said,
And you,
sorry, go for it.
no, I just wanted to add, like, you're right. You're absolutely right. If he keeps on having this great display, jimmylozano will have a difficult time choosing between Jorge Sanchez and Julian Araujo. And I honestly don't think Jimmy Lozano should keep just putting Jorge Sanchez ahead of Julian Araujo. I think he deserves a chance. And yeah, man. I mean, it's time for Jimmy to make a change on that one, on that specific area. Even though we know it's a very competitive or competed position in eltri.
Yeah, I mean Julian Araujo maybe is not ready to be the full time, you know, starter there instead of Jorge Sanchez, but definitely I think needs a chance. He's been, like you said, starting almost every game, if not every game, for Las Palmas in La Liga. So Julian Araujo, a good runner up there for most improved player for Mexico. Now, next category, man, for PPG Awards, here's the breakout player of the year for 2023. Who do you got for us?
So I think it was a tough choice, and I had to think about it very carefully. Now, the name or the player that I chose isn't necessarily a breakout player for El Tri because he has been featured before, but he did miss Qatar 2022 under Tata Mezquino, and he isn't necessarily a starter for the current coach. But I think the biggest breakout for this year is Eric El Chiquito Sanchez. As I said, I was debating whether or not he qualified for this specific award, but I think he does. This guy, whenever Jimmy threw him on, to the fire, expecting results, this guy showed up and put up a show. You can tell that there's a difference between when Mexico is not playing with him and after Mexico has his abilities on the pitch. So, regardless of his size, because he's very small, he's a force to be reckoned with. And I'm really glad to see that um, we may have the next box to box midfielder for Mexico, for the future, for the near future and the mid future, right?
Yeah, I mean he's what 5'6", Pachuca player. Obviously, do you think he's one for the that could be seeing himself to Europe soon?
I really hope so. I do hope so. I think he has the quality to go and play in Europe, maybe at Eredivisie, Belgium, Portugal. The only, I guess, the biggest difficulty is, his physical attributes, right? He's not tall. He isn't necessarily very robust. He isn't necessarily fast. But I think technically speaking, he's a very good player. He is smart on the pitch. He has that stamina to go up and down. He isn't slow. He isn't a wimp, but it's just so European football is so physical, no matter where you go,
Yeah,
that if you don't have the physical attributes, it's going to be a challenge for you. Also, it also doesn't help that he is one of those Mexican talents that Liga MX teams would like to retain, and it's going to be a tough choice because of course, it's going to have probably like a 10 mil offer from Tigres, Monterrey,
right.
America, Chivas, right? Against maybe a 3 to 5, maybe 6 mil offer from, I don't know, PSV, Feyenoord, maybe Porto. I don't know, but it's gonna be a tough one. I really hope he goes to Europe, not stay in Liga MX, and I hope he has another breakthrough in Copa America.
He reminds me of a lot of Pavel Pardo, the same type of
Yeah,
player.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very like smart on the ball, but not the fastest, not the tallest, not the strongest, but a very good and intelligent player.
Hmm.
And hey, man, Pardo made it in Europe, so why not him?
Yeah, why not him? Yeah.
So I see
The
here for your runner-up, you got Chino
mhm.
Huerta, right?
Yeah, and Chino Huerta mainly because of his most recent, I guess, year with Pumas, not necessarily for his time at El Tri. Although he did score the equalizer against Australia, maybe if I'm not mistaken. Um, he's definitely perhaps the biggest breakout next to Chiquito Sanchez, and Chiquito Sanchez has the advantage just because of his impact with El Tri uh, when compared to Chino Huerta.
Yeah, Chino Huerta. And I'm gonna just say had a great year in Liga MX. Decent year for La Selección. We all know him. We all love him. Just don't let him take penalties. Uh, Next award here, PPG 2023, is the biggest X factor. That player that really adds that extra factor to the game, to the La Selección or his club team. Hopefully, it's not El Factor Linus, but who do you got for biggest X factor, man?
So this is the name that I have is a favorite and a very common or featured name in PPG, and it's Uriel Antuna. I was not expecting to name him in any of these awards, but actually I couldn't help to just recognize that he came in clutch when Jimmy needed him the most. Uh, on the last four friendlies, or at least the four friendlies that we had between September and October, he was a clutch player for Mexico. I know that he continues to have make a lot of mistakes on the last third of the pitch, but honest, I mean, what else can I say, right? On those four friendlies, he scored three times and he has gave two assists. So I think is enough said.
I mean, he scored against Germany, right? He scored
I think
against
so. Yeah.
in the one against Ghana, Uzbekistan. Yeah, he's been scoring like back to back, like in a lot of like friendlies, important friendlies. I believe he scored against no, I think those were the most recent three anyway. But yeah, Uriel Antuna, one that, like you said, he comes up a lot in PPG. He's very divided amongst the PPG
Yeah.
faithful, the Mexican side of the PPG faithful. Many love him, and love him a lot, and then many just like can't stand him. I think we initially stood on the side where we're like, man, he needs to stop. He needs to be stopped being called up, right? But he definitely grew into the role towards the end of the year and made some big plays, made some big goals for Mexico. Obviously, does well for Cruzazul. And yeah, Uriel Antuna, when he's on it, he has that factor to take Mexico to the next level.
I
Um,
agree.
who do you get as the runner up for the biggest X factor?
Luis Chavez. I think Luis Chavez has proven to be an X factor for eltri more plenty of times. Maybe not plenty of times, but a handful of times. The most recent one against Honduras with that golazo from a long shot, and you also had the most recent one at Qatar 2022. But I think he continues to be an X factor player for Mexico. That Mexico does better with him on the pitch. He's able to catapult or catalyze the team forward, and he has that ability to just have a one of those random goals that came out of nowhere, right? You weren't expecting him to take a shot. He does, and oh my god, it's a badass goal.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to forget his free kick in the World Cup? And he had another free kick this year. Luis Chavez, the can't really watch him too much because he plays over there in Russia.
Hmm.
Can't watch him as much as we'd like to, but when we do see him for El3, he's usually on it, and he's usually the midfield has run through him. So Luis Chavez, good runner up for the X Factor. Okay, Adrian,
Hmm.
best U23 player for El3 in the year 2023. What do you
Yeah,
got for us?
I think this is an easy one, perhaps the easiest one of all of of all the awards that we're gonna be giving out today. Santiago Jimenez, El Bote Jimenez. I mean, fire start of 2023, continues to have a top-notch performance with Feyenoord. He broke the most recent record of what's his name of this Uruguay. I forgot his name. This Uruguayan player, the guy that bites.
Luis Suarez?
Luis Suarez, yeah, he broke a record of Luis Suarez at Ajax, where I think he scored the most goals on a natural year. I think from January to December, and Lubote just broke that record. I think a couple of weeks ago. So it just goes to show that he's a force to be reckoned with in Eredivisie. Not a best UCL for him this year. Let's see if he can pick up the slack at Europa League. But I think this will be his last year at Feyenoord. He's probably going to make a move to a bigger club in Europe. I really hope it's the likes of Borussia Dortmund or Porto, Benfica, or even a medium tables side like Real Betis, something like that in La Liga before he makes a big move to Premier League, any team in Premier League, or a big name in La Liga or Serie A.
Yeah, I mean, about the only 22 years old, he could still make one of those 2 or 3 year move to like a middle table team or, kind
Hmm.
of almost elite team like you see BBB or Atletico or somebody like that before moving
Hmm.
on to being one of the big clubs. And Bebote, who so far this season has scored 20 goals and 5 assists. So he's killing it there in El Eredivisie. Struggles a little bit with La Seleccion. He had that
Hmm.
goal obviously in the final of Gold Cup against Panama that kind of lifted Mexico to that championship, but doesn't really get I guess the feed, the support that he needs to
Yeah.
succeed with La Seleccion like he does over there in with Feyenoord. But El Bebote, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Best U23 player for Mexico. Who was the runner-up that you had?
Marcel Ruiz. I have Marcel Ruiz, outstanding 2023 with Toluca. I keep forgetting that he's 21 years old or 22 years old just because of how long he has been playing in ligamx. I think he started playing like 5 years ago, even more, with Querétaro, Tijuana, and now with Toluca. So he is a great prospect for Mexico. There's a lot of European scouts in Toluca just looking out for him. I don't know if they're waiting for the contract to expire or what's going to happen, but I would like to see him playing in Europe in the near future. I also think that he is the player to follow for the future in Mexico's midfield. He can probably replace uh, Luis Chavez or Luis Romo, right? Because I don't think anyone's going to take Edson Alvarez away. But yeah, look out for
Yeah,
Marcel Ruiz.
Marcel Ruiz, who he just turned 23 at the end of October.
Oh, here we go.
So yeah, but no, he was somebody that I think felt or deserved more of a chance with his three in 2023. He only got
Yeah.
one cap, but I think he is one for the future that Jimmy will be calling up here a lot in 2024. Um, Now we got to the positional awards. Who do you have for the best goalie of 2023 from eltri?
It has to be Luis Malagón, man. Luis Angel Malagón. I think he finally is making us realize or think that we have found the replacement of Ochoa. Whenever he was required to show up and put up some decent performances, he did. That snafu against Honduras, I don't think has anything to do with him. I think it was just a bad night for the entire team. But on the second leg of the match, he put on his workloads, and my guy just went to town. He had a stop in the penalty shootout. He had a great year with America, and right, he's not playing in Europe, but he's playing in the biggest team in Mexico, and that's perhaps the most or the highest competition or the most competitive spot he can grab at this point in his career. He's not young. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere in Europe, and so this is the highest or the I guess the highest peak in his career in terms of like club. Uh,
Yeah, I mean he just won the title there, ligamx, and we've seen it plenty of times in the past with jugadores de la selección, especially porteros. They could stay in ligamx and be successful international goalies. We've seen it many times with previous goalies for the three. So Luis Angel Malagón, yeah, I mean he's playing like you said, the biggest club in Mexico, doing very well there, and yeah, playing day week in week out. I think he's definitely in the lineup to replace Ochoa. Maybe after I don't know when Ochoa plans to retire. Right? I mean, maybe after the copaamerica, or maybe he'll just say, I mean, 2 more years to the World Cup, I'll stay still. But I don't know. Definitely a good prospect to have there for Mexico as a
mhm.
backup keeper and future starter. Who was the runner-up that you had?
Julio Gonzalez. I think Julio Gonzalez, especially this last or second half of the year, proved to be an interesting prospect. Definitely better, I think, in my opinion, than Pepe Toño Rodriguez. I'm not going to include Ochoa in any of these because, I don't dislike him, but I don't think he has been the best uh, in this 2023.
Okay, Julio Gonzalez, the Pumas goalkeeper there. Not a lot to say. He's not too young, right? I think he's like 30 or something.
No, yeah, he's like, around the 30 mark.
Yeah. All right. Good list of two very competitive Liga MX goalkeepers there. Adrian, who did you have for the PPG Best Defender Award 2023?
Johan Vasquez. Johan Vasquez, arguably the best defender that Mexico has right now. Unfortunately for Cesar Montes, because we have praised him a lot, but he has not had a good 2023. Again, Vasquez has shown great progress since moving to Serie A, and he just needs to keep up the good work.
All right. And for your runner up?
Victor Guzman. I like Victor Guzman. He's a prospect of Mexico, still very young, 22, 21, 22 years old, playing for Monterrey. He lost the starting position to Hector Moreno when Evertano Ortiz joined the team, but he ended up getting it back at the end of this season. I think hopefully we'll see him playing in Europe in the near future, but he is a very good defender, and the biggest thing is that he is a left-footed defender, which is not very common in Mexico.
Yeah, and he's another one of those very young, standout Mexico players that is 21 years old and already has over 100 caps in Liga MX. One that we usually see that gets offered a lot of money to stay in Liga MX,
Yeah.
but obviously a player that we would like to see go to Europe soon. Victor Guzman as the runner-up was best defender. Best midfielder of 2023. Who do you got?
Edson Alvarez, man, undisputable, the best player, period, right, in Mexico right now. Big move in the summer from Ajax to West Ham, and he has been a solid performer for the Hammers. Kind of sort of had a slow start, but right now I think it's very evident that he is one of those regular players that the Hammers need to have decent displays. I mean, he's doing great on, I think, Conference League, if I'm not mistaken, or Europa League, and he's also been playing constantly in Premier League. So uh, I think he is the best midfielder. Period.
Yeah, it's an Alvarez who adapted very well to the Premier League and is always obviously one of the first names on the team sheet for Mexico. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, undisputed, probably the face of Mexico at this time. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. Edson Alvarez, best midfielder that Mexico has at the moment. And for
Hmm.
runner-up, who'd you have?
Chiquito Sanchez. I know I gave him the breakout factor. I think he has proven to be the best second midfielder for this year. I know tough competition with Luis Chavez, Luis Romo, Jordi Cortizo, and those names, but I think he has proven his worth, and he is definitely slightly ahead of all of those names.
Okay, moving to the next one here because I know this is going to be a controversial one. Um, Best forward of 2023. You know, when we think of forwards, we think of Julian Quiñones, we think of Henry Martin, Uriel Antuna,
Hmm.
El Bebote. Um, what's his name? Raúl Jiménez. Who do you have as the best forward 2023 for Mexico?
Broski, I try to stay away from all controversies, right? And I took a very objective approach on this specific award. So I was looking at offensive productivity, right? So not only goals, but how many, I guess, participations they had for a goal. And undisputable, the best one is Uriel Antuna. He had 4 goals and 5 assists. Uh, that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I'm not gonna say that I like Luis Antuna. I don't think he's better than Bebote or Henry Martin or Raúl Jiménez as a striker, but the numbers are there. He was the best forward for Mexico in 2023.
Not counting club, right? We're just talking about seleccion
I'm
here.
just talking selección, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Otherwise, Bebote would have won, right? But I'm
Right,
just
right.
for this one specifically. I'm only looking at what they did with eltri.
Okay. Uriel Antuna, there you go. The most goals and assists per minutes played and product, best production wise for seleccion 2023. And your runner up, who do you have?
Henry Martin with 7 goal participations, 2 goals and 5 assists.
Okay, I buy that. Henry Martin had a pretty productive year for three as
Hmm.
well, and for America there. Um, Here's another one. Well, not another one. This is the first time we do it, but a good one that I want to hear your opinion on. Mexico's best win of 2023. What do you got for us?
I think the award goes to the Gold Cup final against Panama. That was an intense match. I was not expecting Panama to put up that good of a fight. The ending of that match was kind of epic, with Bebote scoring a badass goal at the end of the match, right? And I think that's perhaps the most ecstatic or and enthusiastic match that Mexico had for 2023.
Yeah, definitely. Good win to a good first tournament for Jimmy. That was able to lift his the first trophy under his L3 career. What was your runner up best match for L3 in 2023?
It has to be that second leg against Honduras in the recent Nations League quarterfinals. It was kind of intense, difficult to watch at the very first minutes, but it was, it was dramatic. What we needed, what we wanted. Yeah.
Yep, they scored when they needed to and won it in penalties. Right, that was the one that won in penalties.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
All right, Adrian, the final award of 2023, best goal scored for L3. Which one do you have?
I think the award goes to El Bebote Jimenez against Panama. That was a badass goal. Um, I don't think it was only his personal manufacturing or a personal uh, technique that made the goal so impressive. It was a collective goal, and to me, is perhaps the best goal for Mexico in this year.
And not just that, not just the collective goal, the technique, but also what it meant for Mexico, what it meant for Jimmy, what it meant for repercussions down the line. That because of that, they're able to get a top seed in copaamerica. So that
Yeah.
played a lot. They're able to be in Group A, or well, they got Group B, right? But they were in Pot A or whatever, or they were Group C. I can't recall. But yeah, because of that goal, because of that win, they were able to get a trophy. They were able to get a good pot in Copa America, and just meant a lot for El Tri there. Yeah, best goal. And Bote Jimenez versus Panama in the Gold Cup final. Adrian, man, this has been the first annual yearly awards for El Tri, man. We're gonna something we plan to keep doing as we progress here with PPG. As we wrap this episode up, bro, where can others just find us, dude?
They can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on your preferred social media platform, and let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this episode? Were you a fan of this type of video where we kind of go through, the best moments for Ed 3? Definitely like hearing from you guys in the comments. And did you agree with what Adrian, nominated and who he had as a winner and runner up? There were some controversial decisions. I think maybe just one or two. But yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments. Definitely like interacting with you guys there. Yeah, man, another good one with you, bro. This might be our last one or one of the last ones of the year, 2023, but we'll pick up right again at the start of 2024, man, with some more L3 and USMNT news, man. See you
For
in the next one, brother.
sure. Take it easy.
See ya.